A man from Bristol, who was known as Kilo Chris, went on the run after being arrested as part of a major drugs conspiracy, but he's been now sentenced to 19 years in prison at Bristol Crown Court. Christopher Barbosa from Bristol was arrested in May 2020 after officers from the Southwest Regional Organised Crime Unit identified him as Kilo Chris, a key associate of Romain Hyman, who was sentenced to 26 years in prison in 2022. Barbosa went on the run travelling across mainland Europe before being arrested in Paris whilst trying to continue his journey from Dubai to Barcelona. He spent a year in custody in France, having contested every stage of the extradition process before being returned to the UK last December. Evidence from Barbosa's encrypted phone, where he used the handle Kilo Chris, showed he purchased at least 46 kilos of coke from Bath-based Hyman at a cost of over £1.5 million in just 2 months. He also bought at least 20 kilos of coke from a Wiltshire-based Allison Brothers, who were jailed in February as part of a separate £7 million drugs conspiracy investigation, and 3 kilos from North Somerset man Alex Mail, who was jailed last December for 18 years and who also went on the run. Barbosa used Robert Dent's home in Knoll West as a safe house, with James Helly as a courier. Dent and Helly were jailed in 2023 for 12 years and 11 years respectively. DCI Adam Smith from the Southwest Regional Organised Crime Unit said Barbosa was very well connected to other serious criminals who were collectively making huge profits out of supplying Class A drugs onto our streets. Said we've already seen others, including his suppliers and those who worked for him and with him, receive significant jail time. Barbosa kept a low profile, letting others run the risk of storing and distributing drugs and money under his instruction. We'll have seen the sentences they've received whilst on the run. Said we all know the huge harm caused by the business they're in and the youth violence and exploitation it fuels. Cases like this shows the absolute determination of our unit, together with our regional forces, to target those causing the most harm. Ruana Ogwavomi, the senior specialist prosecutor for the CPS, said Barbosa had a significant role in a sophisticated operation which supplied Class A drugs across the southwest, handling over 66 kilos of coke. Despite his attempts to evade justice by hiding behind encrypted technology and fleeing abroad, the CPS worked closely with law enforcement and international partners to secure his extradition, build a strong case and bring him to justice. They also said we will be pursuing confiscation proceedings against Barbosa to recover the proceeds of his crimes. They also went on to say this case sends a clear message that we will pursue criminals wherever they go. There is nowhere to hide. Organised crime and illegal drugs bring misery and harm to our communities, and we will work tirelessly to help dismantle these criminal networks. So as I said in the story, this guy, Christopher Barbosa, also known as Kilo Chris, he was a key associate of Romain Hyman. So I'm just going to go through what happened to Romain.
A man from Bath who organised the supply of at least £3 million worth of cocaine to the southwest and boasted to his contacts that his gun had a silencer, the whole shebang, has been jailed for 26 years. Romain Hyman, who's 30 years old, was found guilty of 18 offences at Bristol Crown Court and he was sentenced today. Hyman became a key target for the Southwest Regional Organised Crime Unit investigation following Operation Venetic, which was the UK law enforcement response to the takedown of the encrypted messaging service EncroChat. Also sentenced for his part in the supply chain was sprinter Leon Reid of Bath. He has represented Ireland at the 2021 Olympic Games, reaching the semi-finals of the 200 metres. Yet Hyman was the real organiser of crime, using the handle Locksmith Rome. Hyman operated at the centre of 4 conspiracies to supply cocaine and heroin from London and the Midlands to the southwest, and 2 conspiracies to launder the millions of pounds made from that supply. He not only sourced and supplied multi-kilo quantities of drugs, but also smaller supplies to regular customers. He even cooked cocaine himself to produce crack cocaine to sell, and supplied heroin, MDMA and ketamine. Hyman was arrested on the 29th of May 2020 after receiving a delivery of 7 kilo blocks of cocaine from London and taking them to Leon Reid's flat in Bath. Hyman sent a photo of the Fendi blocks with the words "landed safe, thank you" to his London supplier. That was his final Encro message, as 5 minutes later, as he left the flat, he was arrested. When officers searched Reed's flat, they not only found the Fendi cocaine, but also a padlocked suitcase containing a handgun, 25 rounds of ammunition, a silencer, a kit to adapt the weapon to function as a submachine gun, £23,000 stashed in his drawer, a money counter, and equipment Hyman used to cook his crack cocaine. He also paid to use 2 other Bath addresses where £24,000 was seized from inside a safe, and one in Snow Hill where 54 grams of cocaine, 3.5 kilos of MDMA, 3,000 MDMA tablets, 1 kilo of ketamine, 200 grams of cutting agents, and a hydraulic press which was seized. So Leon Reed was arrested the same day and has been sentenced to 21 months, suspended for 18 months, and 220 hours unpaid work for allowing his flat to be used by Hyman to produce cocaine and for receiving payment, which text messages showed amounted to £500 a month. He was found not guilty of concealing criminal property and 3 firearms offences, which all related to the items seized from his flat. Siobhan Rose from Nottingham was arrested in October 2020 and found guilty of conspiracy to launder money and possession of £15,500 in criminal cash found at his home. He was found not guilty of conspiracy to supply 15 kilos of cocaine, and he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. A fourth man, Sheikh Maruf Rauf, he was sentenced last September to 3 years in prison after pleading guilty to money laundering and possessing criminal property. He was arrested in April after collecting £300,000 cash from Hyman in Bath to deliver to London, and went on to admit his role in conspiracy to launder £4.4 million made through serious criminal activity. Detective Inspector Charlotte Tucker from the Southwest Regional Organised Crime Unit said Hyman was a major supplier of Class A drugs into and out of the Southwest, and the images of the piles of cash represent just how much harm that supply will have caused, with each £10 and £20 note representing a separate deal. She continued, adding the gun, silencer, and ammunition stashed in his flat in the middle of Bath, and you get a picture of the level he was operating at and the risk he posed. The Encro messages not only showed Hyman's role in sourcing 89 kilos of cocaine, but his aspirations to become a dominant force in the drug supply in the Southwest, with plans being made to import hundreds of kilos at a time. While the takedown of Encro was a huge moment in terms of turning the tables on criminals like Hyman and his associates, that evidence was just one part of a complex investigation. We still had to prove Hyman was locksmith Rome, which involved painstaking work across our teams. That it had been a mammoth investigation, and that the £3 million worth of cocaine would have had a street value of £9 million. She said the sentence of 26 years reflects the severity of the crime. The impact of these criminal activities would have cut across all levels of society. Chief Inspector Steve Kendall of the Avon and Somerset Police said today's sentencing are a culmination of years of intensive investigative work and a number of law enforcement agencies, and we welcome the significant jail terms handed down to dangerous criminals. We like to reassure our communities that we will never stop our proactive work to disrupt drug lines across Avon and Somerset. We are hugely grateful to members of the public for their invaluable support and crucial information that helps us tackle this issue.